our main story today. Over in the United Kingdom, meanwhile, as civil unrest breaks out in the United States, over in the United Kingdom, the government has unlocked, shall we say, 150 million pounds from dormant bank accounts, right? So let me put that into normal terms here. The United Kingdom government has just seized money from citizens, right? Now, they claim they need the money to help deal with the economic impact of the COVID pandemic. Of course, they would say that. So we'll look at our first link here. This is from thegov.uk. This is the presser from the United Kingdom government. On its face, you might think that this is a totally fine and natural concept. The government needs money to help the citizenry. This is money, from the way that I read it, that was just sitting around in these accounts, not doing anything. So it makes sense that that money be distributed to help individuals. Okay, that sounds great. Until you realize that this shows that government can simply just take your money whenever they want. The kind of qualifier there was, well, this is just dormant money sitting around not doing anything. Right, but it wasn't the government's money. It was somebody's money, not the government's. And it should be that individual's choice, right? That's their property, right? One of the basic rules of modern civilization is that we have personal property rights, right? What's mine is mine, and I get to decide how it is disposed of. And this shows that governments can just take your money whenever they want, right? To my mind, the words that they use here are redistributing dormant money, when what they should say is seizing the assets of citizens unlawfully. Now, the way that this was made possible, the United Kingdom has a, let's find it here. It's called a dormant asset scheme legislation. Through our proposals to further expand the dormant asset scheme, we want to unlock hundreds of millions of more pounds for good causes, while keeping customer protection at the heart of the program. So not only do they have this legislation called the Dormant Asset Scheme, they are talking about aggressively expanding the range of assets that fall under this legislation's purview. And a good take was done over here by Zero Hedge on this, where they kind of compared this legislation and the laws that were present in feudal England and, honestly, feudal Europe. This state of affairs is actually not anything new. This could almost be considered a return to old normalities of law. Back in the day, kings, dukes, other sovereigns could seize whatever they wanted from their serfs or from the lower class, right? Now, this just highlights that savers are not safe. Savers are not safe in the modern economy with actions like these. If we're being told to rely on and utilize the fiat currency of our government, right? If we want to hold our savings in that, and you are going to come up with, when you need to, any kind of legislation or justification to seize money that's not being utilized in a way you see fit, then savers aren't safe, right? If I want to stick money away in a savings account and you can seize it just because I don't have any other activity on that account, like, can I even consider that my money? Is it really mine if I don't really own it? And, I think that this helps highlight the value proposition of Bitcoin as unconfiscatable, right? So many people, when they talk about Bitcoin, they talk about Bitcoin as a medium of exchange or a way to help, unbank the unbanked. I think I've talked about this before. Obviously, I recommend you go watch my conversation with Alex Gladstein of the Human Rights Foundation, when we talked about the role of Bitcoin in promoting liberty and privacy to the rest of the world. But you also need to watch my conversation with Ansel Lender of Bitcoin and Markets, where we talked about the goal, at least, I think the priorities should be bootstrapping the Bitcoin network as a global reserve system by onboarding lots of liquidity and volume to the network. The only way to do that is by not targeting the individuals with relatively low amounts of capital first. Targeting the institutions first and onboarding lots of amounts of capital to the Bitcoin network increases volume and reduces volatility and makes it a more stable and less volatile monetary unit for individuals to utilize, which just further enhances its attractiveness as an alternative to cash, as a digital cash, right? But Bitcoin is unconfiscatable, and to me, that is really one of its greatest, probably its greatest aspects, right? Because it cannot be seized. If you utilize proper protocol, if you secure your Bitcoin the right way, you are ultimately in charge of its deposition. Now, obviously, a question needs to be asked here, like, does this action from the United Kingdom government serve the greater good? right? Is this a necessary evil? Is this not why we institute governments in the first place? To be able to make these kind of fiat decisions. And obviously, I'm certain that, people will be fine and, these people aren't getting their money stolen and this and that, right? Does this not help serve the greater good? And while that's certainly a valid argument that we could have, a conversation that we can have, I feel pretty strongly that there are few things that debase the faith or resolve of your citizenry in the benevolence of the nation state more than giving them the anxiety that their property isn't their property. Why should anyone get a claim over my property due to arbitrary reasons? This is not how you preserve property rights. This is not how you instill the concepts of liberty and freedom that Western civilization has helped flourish around the world. One of the biggest reasons that we have successful Western economies is because of the rule of law and because of personal property rights. I think that the government, for short-term gain, messes with the citizens' confidence in that established norm at their own peril. So let me know what you guys think in the chat, in the comment section down below. If you're watching this on a Breaking Bitcoin Bits, I feel pretty strongly about this. We've seen this obviously before in the past, many, many times. There's nothing new under the sun. And we're going to continue seeing these events moving forward. It is not a failure of the central banking system or the centralized government system. It is a byproduct of it. It is a natural byproduct of a centralized command and control.